Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology vendors. I'm Eric Seufert, and I'm here with Puneet Gupta, the Chief Product Officer, and Tim Koshela, the CEO and founder of Kayzen. Tim, Puneet, how are you doing?
All good here.
Very well, very well.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time. Appreciate your participation. So I will kick off the interview with a very high-level question. What does Kayzen do?
Kayzen is a mobile in-house bidder. We believe it to be the first mobile in-house bidder that existed in the market. Essentially, we're a DSP, a self-serve DSP that is focused on mobile in-app inventory. And our customers are typically app developers, mobile-focused agencies, or mobile-focused commerce brands.
Who would you consider to be your most direct competitors?
So I start with when we started the company, because I think that gives a bit better context about how we started Kayzen. We saw Beeswax as probably the most close competitor at the time. This was in 2019. But as we know, Beeswax has since been acquired by Comcast, and they were never like really squarely focused on mobile. So I think today we would see more of like a mobile platform like Moloco probably as a competitor. I'd say Liftoff is probably a competitor. But it all depends on which lens you look at it, because I think none of these companies are like one-on-one comparable with us.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from an advertiser perspective, then oftentimes we may solve a similar problem.
Why are they not directly comparable? Is it because you offer more like bidding functionality?
As far as we know, those products specifically, Liftoff to start with that one, is a fully managed service offering. So the advertiser basically gets a reporting UI where they see a bunch of metrics, most of which you would see in your MMP dashboard as well. Maybe you see a little bit more in their reporting dashboard, and then they take on your campaign management end to end. I think Moloco is a little bit more offering also a self-serve as an optional add-on. So that's a bit closer maybe to what we do. But at Kayzen, it's really like an advertiser is coming with the idea of managing their own campaigns. And I think that's where I would say it's quite different. We are pretty modular in the way the architecture of the system is built and in our offering. So what we'll often find is also a customer has very specific needs, and they use certain features in the system, and they only pay for those features that they use, and they may not use all features. They may use services that we offer, or they may not use those services. So that's up to the client to decide.
Got it.
But it's not like one bundled end-to-end offering that just like take it or leave it.
Right. And how do they typically interface with Kayzen? Is it through like an API or through like a web UI?
Yeah, the vast majority through a web UI. And yeah, we'll see a little demo later on today.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. There is a few customers that use APIs as well. Yes.
Got it. And I kind of want to hover on this idea of, the sort of different competitive spaces for DSPs on mobile relative to web. Because I think that's really interesting. Why do you think that is? Because I think the last touch point that I had when I was just doing some work on Trade Desk's business, for instance, like 13% of the revenue was mobile. And that wasn't broken out across app or like web, right? So you do see that the mobile DSPs, the sort of traditional desktop DSPs didn't really enter into the mobile market in earnest, I don't think. And then you have a crop of sort of mobile-only DSPs. Why didn't they take that on? Why didn't they build out that market capability?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question. I think there is a couple of reasons. I wouldn't quote a single one, but I think it starts with who are the advertisers that are traditionally the customers of desktop-first DSPs, and that's primarily brand advertisers, because performance advertisers in desktop, they use social networks. Well, those barely have any desktop inventory anymore, but they use mostly search. And they use maybe price comparison sites and stuff like that. So display advertising in desktop rarely works for classical performance down funnel metrics. Whereas in mobile, it's very different. 80% maybe of the mobile spend is down funnel optimized. So I don't think these systems had the capabilities from a optimization standpoint to cater to the needs of mobile advertisers first. And I think, secondly, also because in-app inventory just works a little different from like a browser ad. It starts with, I don't know, you have, for example, in mobile, you'll have like auctions one that don't clear. That's a very common thing because of the whole like waterfall logic and mediation setup. That's something very rare to find in a desktop DSP. So for example, we differentiate between what we call the clear rate and the win rate. Whereas I think in most desktop DSPs, you just have one metric called the win rate, and it may either be actually the win rate or the clear rate.
Thanks for listening. To hear the complete interview, subscribe at marketecture.tv.